Yo, what is good, my quick crypto family and my coin factory family? Welcome back once again to your Kaspa crypto live stream. We are in a very interesting predicament right now, and I say that because if you are part of my VIP or equally tune into these streams continuously every day, which I know you beautiful people do, you'll be hearing and you would know that we are currently in a situation where the markets are anticipating further pullbacks from the macro data and from the Fed's hawkish stance. Today we heard the FOMC minutes. It happened about an hour or so back now, 2 hours back, and it was by and large a very hawkish stance. More hawkish than expected, more hawkish than expected. We'll go through what was covered in a moment. It's a very interesting time we're in right now because, and this does actually align with what I was saying yesterday. Yesterday we saw the market go through quite a bit of a correction. We saw Kaspa come back down to 8.26 cents. Currently Kaspa's up 5.43% on the daily time frame, valued at 8.74 cents. This does align with my predictions yesterday, which is potentially and seemingly evidently the markets had anticipated that the Fed were going to give some hawkish predictions and some speeches today that were going to be hinting more so towards tightening or not going to loosen monetary policies anytime soon. So the markets dumped in accordance. And now, as that happened, played out as expected, the markets have not really reacted badly at all. Bitcoin up 1%, Ethereum up 6.4% right now. Altcoins again starting to rally more and more. Kaspa again up 5.4%. Markets across the board are doing very well. So Zebec up 8.19%, and it was, up about 12% yesterday as well. In fact, I've made a video that is already in the pipeline, and I'll be uploading it as soon as the stream is done. I'll be uploading it to my channel about Zebec and the possibility that Zebec's going to be going through the next move up now. In my belief, Zebec could probably reach 1 cent, 0.01, in the coming months or so ahead, based on their incoming catalyst that we'll get through a little bit in the stream as well. But for the most part, the market's doing very well. So, with that being said, if you are, as always, enjoying the content, enjoy the daily live streams, the daily updates with crypto, leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more, and to be more in tuned to the crypto space, not just Kaspa as well, to learn more, check out my free community. 600 members in there and growing, and we cover a lot in there. Of course, Kaspa being our main focus, could be our mainly Kaspa holders, but we talk about everything in there as well. The macro news, the fundamentals, and occasionally other projects as well. Of course, in my VIP, we do cover more other projects as well. If you want to find out more, and I highly recommend being part of a community where you can just learn more passively when you're not doing these 1 hour live streams, then again, go check it out. Link to join it on my homepage and also down in the description below. But that being said, welcome back again everyone to the live stream. Zied, first today, welcome back, brother. Hope you're doing very well. Dimitar, as always, here. Future Crypto Elite is here. Welcome back again, brother. Kaspa will indeed melt faces. Yo, Greg, welcome back, bro. Hopefully you're feeling a lot better. LB on the check-in. Hope you're doing very well. And no trolls today. Unfortunately, there will always be trolls, and I can see my man is back. Welcome back again, brother. Hope you're doing very well. Don't know what Kaspa 1% is referring to. I'm not sure what 1% is referring to, but sure. Hawkish, no cuts next month. Well, if we load up CME FedWatch tool right now, we can see, according to CME FedWatch, the chance of rate cuts is still at 80%. I mean, it's come down. Rate cuts were last week at 92%. Then earlier today, before the Fed meeting, was at 83%, and now it's down to 81%. So, it's still for the most part leaning more towards the possibility of rate cuts, but it is starting to, lower the possibility, right? Every coin is now in more than 5% in the green. Kaspa's only 1%. And I know you're trolling me because I'm looking at the market chart right now. I'm not sure if you're watching the screen at all, but you can see Ethereum's up 6%, XRP 3%, Kaspa 5%, Sui 4%. Kaspa's actually one of the bigger gainers today. So I know you're trolling me and I know you're lying because you're not watching the screen. But anyways, that being said, yes, so we can see the rate cuts are still in the possibility right now, LB, so I wouldn't count it out just yet. But again, if you've been watching this channel for a while and you've heard the little leaks that I've been giving out regarding what I cover in the VIP group, you would have heard the information we covered from that document from Signet Bank that actually indicated that rate cuts may be counterproductive and actually a bad thing. So arguably, not having them in September would be for the better and longevity of the cycle, elongating it into 2026. Not guaranteed, of course, but it's a possibility. Now, that being said, welcome back again to the stream, everybody. Hope you're doing very, very well. Welcome back, Falco brother, and you too, Way Kappa Miner came today, buzzing. Love to hear that, brother. Get that set up and contribute to the network, or at least when it is possible for you. But well done to you for having that miner, and hopefully you enjoy making those gains and contributing to the security and safety of Kaspa. So we can see right now, yes, markets. We can see as a result of Ethereum now up 6.5% pretty much. Bitcoin dominance is continuing to fall off. So maybe we are in this predicament now where Bitcoin did peak at this 65-66% dominance. And now it's going to come back down to the 40%. And then you're going to see altcoins go parabolic. You might be seeing a earlier top. And we're going through this gradual, slow but sure correction now, with altcoins now garnering a lot more attention from institutions. Bitcoin's already got a lot of adoption. There's still a lot of institutions who are waiting and aiming to get into Bitcoin. So it's not a matter of it's not going to happen. They still will. Bitcoin will get more adoption. But with more regulatory clarity coming through, with more frameworks coming through, with more ETF filing seemingly on the horizon as well, with some experts predicting a boatload to be passed in the next 2 months, like Nick Grassi, we could, by and large, therefore, end up seeing altcoin dominance rally a lot quicker and giving us that altcoin cycle in the next coming months or so. Again, we've got to wait and see, play it by ear, don't be emotional, be logical. But we can see right now Ethereum's doing very well. Bitcoin dominance is down to 59.28% again, below 60%, and Kaspa is valued at 8.7 cents. Again, we would like to hope that Kaspa will manage to regain and surpass 9 cents again, but we are not out of the woods just yet. So, we have been seeing, of course, on the back of Bitcoin dumping so heavily and Ethereum dumping so heavily and therefore the market dumping so heavily, smart money moves. They're selling. No surprise there. Massive ETF institutions are selling Bitcoin and Ethereum at a record pace as demand slumps. ARK Invest, 21 shares, Cathy Wood's company, sold 559 Bitcoin, which is roughly $64.4 million. BlackRock sold 68.7 million, sold a lot more. And then BlackRock and Ethereum sold $82.7 million worth of Ethereum, and Fidelity sold $74.3 million. So we've seen a lot of selling off from big institutions, hence why the markets started correcting in value, because smart money sells, and of course retail follows smart money, because that's the way you don't lose. That's why Bitcoin came back down from, where it was trading around 117 to, making a new all-time high at 124, 125k. It's now come back down, found support at 112k, and hopefully is going to hold that. Again, we're not out of the woods just yet, but hopefully we are going to hold that. Right now we are. Hopefully we can regain 115, 116 again before we see what happens tomorrow and on Friday as well. But time will tell. And then Ethereum again equally came back down to that level here. I was expecting Ethereum to come back down probably to 3.9, this zone all the way up here, or down here even. I was expecting Ethereum to come down here, and it managed to reverse earlier at this support here, which is where it made its previous tops, around 4k. So that's also good for Ethereum. It's running a lot higher as well. So in that regard, I think Ethereum is doing very, very well. And institutions evidently are aping into Ethereum, getting more into the altcoins. And the reason why is quite obvious. Of course, they love Bitcoin, right? But we know Bitcoin hasn't got enough use case. It can't really scale. You can't effectively use it. Ethereum's not fantastic either, but it is the most interoperable chain in this space. The most interoperable. So institutions are building on Ethereum, not necessarily to use it for the long term, but to build the tools necessary for their products and whatnot and their developments on Ethereum to then eventually bridge it onto their chain of choice that is more efficient and secure and scalable. That's why Ethereum's getting more adoption right now, because it has got the ability to bridge to every other chain. Your XRP Ledger, soon to be your Kaspa in just 11 days time, and your many other chains as well. Ethereum is the most interoperable chain out there. That's its one biggest benefit. But yeah, we saw a massive sell-off, hence why the market corrected, but now we're starting to see a recovery, and it's not surprising, or at least it's somewhat surprising, but also is not when you think about it logically. So as we look here on Forex Factory, today we witnessed the FOMC minutes. In my time zone, BST, there was one at 4 p.m, 7 p.m, 8 p.m. The main one we're focusing here is just the FOMC minutes right here, the one at 7 p.m, which, as we can see from the summary here, it was more hawkish than expected, which is good for the currency, USD, but it's not great for on-risk markets. So what was covered here? Well, here we got zero hedge. Hawkish FOMC minutes shows majority fear higher inflation more than lower employment. What we have to understand is we're in a very intricate, delicate period where the economy is not in a good spot. Now, when the economy is, got a lot of unemployment and it's stagnating, you tend to lower rates to, inject liquidity and money into the economy to help it start, the gears start turning again, effectively. The problem is inflation's too high. At least they perceive inflation to be too high. Whether it actually is or not, we can argue till death do us part, but the Fed are the ones who control of this, and they perceive that inflation is too high, and they're worried. And truth be told, after last week's very, very hot PPI inflation report that happened here, you saw PPI shoot up massively. They have a reason to be concerned because PPI has a history of predicting future CPI, Consumer Price Index. So they're worried about inflation now being way too high, and actually now being more fearful, therefore, than lower employment. So as a result, therefore, the Fed is now in a predicament where they've got to think, okay, so the economy is stagnating, unemployment's going up higher and higher, but inflation's going to, out of pocket. They can't hike rates to combat inflation because there's unemployment, but they can't lower them because inflation's too high. So they're kind of left in a very difficult spot when they can't really move it. Now, I do believe eventually they will. I'm hoping they will, or they'll find a way to do so, because that'd be good for us, of course, as investors for on-risk markets like crypto. But we can see here to read on, since the last dovish FOMC statement and Powell's post-statement hawkish presser on July 30th, we have had cool payroll prints and hot inflation prints with retail sales mixed. And now everyone is anticipating Friday's speech by Jerome Powell at Jackson Hole, so maybe these minutes will be a nothing burger. These minutes have come back more hawkish, but of course, that's probably also why the market's not reacting too badly, because while it has come back more hawkish, and I think that's been priced in from yesterday, also what really matters more so with respect is what Jerome Powell says. So on Friday, he's speaking. His words, how he presents himself, what he says, will have a much more significant impact on the general economy and the markets. If Jerome Powell is aligning with what these Fed officials stated, then we might see a pullback on Friday as well. And then you'll see it be priced in, and then you'll see everyone being like, okay, cool, no more rate cuts, which is, we haven't had any yet, and we don't need any. We're already nearing all-time highs. We don't need rate cuts. Of course, it'd be great to have them, but don't make a mistake and think we need them. We don't. Bitcoin's made all-time highs repeatedly without rate cuts. Ethereum's almost made an all-time high. Stock market has made all-time highs without rate cuts. We do not need them. And once, or potentially if, Jerome Powell makes his statement and if it ends up being hawkish, and we therefore don't get rate cuts, or the sentiment of getting rate cuts massively reduced, people will be like, oh, that sucks. They'll get very, very fuddy. And then they'll end up being like, oh yeah, you know what, it is what it is. And they'll move on. They'll move on, as they all tend to do. Now, institutions are paying close attention to the Fed, because the Fed, if they start cutting rates, that will be a green light to them to start aping more of their capital on the sidelines into the market. Otherwise, they're going to just keep holding. But if the Fed doesn't make the first move, the next major catalyst will not be the Fed cutting rates, but it'll be more so ETF filings and regulatory frameworks that are coming out September, October time. So in the next month or two anyway. So we're still, edging ever closer as it stands right now. And, it goes into more detail here in this document from Zero Hedge. I'm not going to read it all word for word, but I'll link this down below. Not down below. I'll link it in my free Discord server. So if you want to touch up and move through it for yourself, you can find it. It'll be in the news channel in my free Discord community. I highly recommend joining because you find out a lot more information in there, and the stuff we cover in these streams, you can read the sources for yourself. And again, everything's about doing your own research, touching up on it, and building your own trading strategies. I can help in regards to giving you the sources, but you've got to end up reading it for yourself and determine what that means for yourself as well. But right now, again, we're seeing people are ultimately very, very worried. People are worried about tariffs. People are worried about slowing down of the economy, and so on and so forth. But for the most part, the markets are not reacting too badly to that today, and my anticipation is because A, FOMC minutes, while important, is not as significant as Jerome Powell, and B, we saw the correction happen yesterday in anticipation for this hawkish stance today. We saw Ethereum, which came down about 5%, is now made all of that back and is currently up 6.77% on the daily time frame. Kaspa equally one of the bigger gainers today in, well, at least according to my charts right now, up 5.77%. It's beating Sui, beating Say, it's beating H-bar as well, it's beating Tau as well, beating XRP. So also doing very well in that regard for Kaspa today as well, which is good to see. Now, will it continue in that fashion? We can only hope. We can only hope. Remember to sell before Friday. I mean, you got a point there, Nate, honestly, and it may be not illogical to do so. I'm not saying, definitely do so. Again, you do your own research and your trading discretion. But if FOMC minutes is an indicator of how Jerome Powell's going to act as well and behave, then he is likely going to be very hawkish on Friday. And off the back of that, you may see markets correct from Friday as well. Now, I still do believe we have more upside in the cycle. All the sources that I've looked through, or the indicators suggest to me we still got more upside. It's getting a bit, difficult in regards to so much uncertainty, particularly around war and also seemingly growing around Trump right now. They're seeing a lot more uncertainty growing around him right now. As it stands right now, I don't, and again, the whole premise, the whole definition of black swan is a massive crisis event that is not predicted. So, of course, when I'm saying this, obviously, I don't see a black swan coming in. Now, that's obvious because I'm not going to see a black swan. No one predict that. But in regards to what a black swan could, unfold, you might see war outbreak between Ukraine or Russia or something within the Middle East again. Markets crashing. Right now, we're in, again, a delicate spot, but I do think we still have more upside, which is supported by the catalyst still coming through the market and other big developments as well. So, right now, the Fed can only justify rate cuts with one data point, which is the labour market, but the Fed just said they see inflation risk outweighing employment risk in the Fed minutes. As we saw in September 2024, the Fed cut rates by 50 basis points immediately blamed the labour market. If the Fed is using inflation as a gauge for rate cuts, then rate cuts are nowhere near. Core CPI inflation is back above 3%, and PPI just jumped 0.9% month on month, the biggest jump in over 3 years. That said, the last Fed meeting happened before the last job reports. Regardless, today's Fed minutes were a major blow to the Fed pivot camp. Powell appears ready to hold rates steady if he feels it is necessary. September jobs report will decide everything. Nothing's decided yet. We still have many more macro trends to take into account. We have a big macro report coming out tomorrow. Unemployment claims, the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, the PMI. This is going to be very, very important as well to determine how the Fed and Jerome Powell may act on the Friday. And then again, what's happening in September. The job reports that happen at the beginning every Friday, which would be here. You'll see the job report coming out here on the Friday, on the 5th of September. That will equally be very important to determine how Jerome Powell is going to act on the Fed meeting. That will be on the 17th, which is going to be a week or two later. So that's regarding the macro trends and the current predicament in the market. Don't be emotional, be logical. We have still got more time ahead of us and we don't need rate cuts. Just keep doing research. Tune into the free Discord server and you can learn much more on there. I'll keep everybody updated as much as I can do. And equally the VIP, I keep everyone a lot more updated in there as well, with more institutional documents supporting that to keep us up to date on what's happening in the market. But as I stated, right now, we are not, for me, in an absolute crisis. We are seeing stuff like this. Apparently, US bankruptcies are hitting their highest level since the 2020 pandemic, and that seems like bad news, and it is, but you also got to realize at the same time that this is happening because they are pivoting. They're pivoting to stablecoins. Goldman Sachs says the potential market for crypto stablecoins is in the trillions of dollars. All major banks and FIs and payment providers are pivoting into stablecoins. China, who have been historically making crypto illegal and anti-crypto since 2013, they're now considering allowing yuan-backed stablecoins for the first time in history. Yuan-backed stablecoins is going to be huge. Now, of course, it won't necessarily surpass the dollar, but the fact that they're now going to accept stablecoins and crypto tech is a very, very big shift in their policies. Proof once more that we are still early. You know, it's crazy to me. I don't know how I could still say that when we're in August 2025, going into September 2025, but we are still early, especially with altcoins. The big caps, your Ethereums, your Bitcoins, and in a sense your XRP and Solanas as well, maybe not so much. But every other altcoin, effectively, we are still early. And we are seeing the adoption growing more and more. These macro trends are important to determine the short term and the medium term, but the long term hasn't changed. And for me, Kaspa again has one of the strongest long-term visions. I think Zebec's also a decent shout for this cycle. Currently up 8% at 0.0047 right now. It's currently up about 16% or so in the past 2 days or so. I think that Zebec's going to rally a lot higher, and I'll post a video. As soon as this stream is done, I'll post a video on my channel covering the recent Zebec updates. I'll get through a little bit of them in today's stream. I'm sorry, Kryptoni, I will. A little bit about Zebec here, but I think Zebec again has got some big catalysts incoming that could see a rally for Zebec coming through very, very soon. And then Kaspa, I mean, we know what's coming to Kaspa. We'll get through those posts in a short moment. Before I do, let's get into some questions real quickly. Welcome back, Cassius, bro. Would be awesome to see you highlight it. Me highlight what, particularly? Because I'll highlight whatever it is you're referring to. But I'm not sure what you're referring to. Welcome back, Kryptoni, bro. Hope you're doing very, very well. I'm here, bro. Scheme. Hope you're doing very, very well. Market like certainty, 100%. You know, that's why just, you know, the Fed are acting more hawkish, but the fact that they're arguably them acting hawkish as opposed to uncertain is better. You know, so it again, the markets, of course, great news is the best thing. Bad news is not good. Uncertain news is the worst. The markets will react more positively to definitive bad news than they would to uncertain news. Uncertainty is the killer for honest markets. Kaspa falling down the ranks as always. I look at Kaspa right now on CMC. I've not actually checked where it's at on CMC today. CMC right now, Kaspa's currently at 44. I mean, still top 50. Until Kaspa falls out of the top 50, I'm not particularly worried. It's still a top 50 without the major top tier exchanges. Currently up 3% according to CMC right now, but according to TradingView, up 5.61% right now. It's got 61 million 24-hour trading volume, 2.33 billion market cap, and once more dominated by the likes of Gate, then Mexi, then BitGet and Bybit up here as well. I mean, I don't see it falling down the ranks. I mean, you know, a few days back it was at 41. It does seem to fluctuate right now between the mid to low 40s. Between Algorand and Pi, seem to fluctuate between these assets here. But I mean, there's not been a definitive catalyst in this period of time for Kaspa to make that move. Smart contracts could be a catalyst for it, but again, they aren't even out yet. We've got 11 days still. So again, I'm not expecting too much for Kaspa right now. I'm expecting a lot of big things for it later on this cycle and for the years to follow. But right now, I'm using this opportunity to continue allocating my bag and DCing into it. Kaspa is still, again, extremely undervalued in my belief. Maxi perception versus search trends are the unsung bullish divergence. Oh yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of Maxis. I mean, actually, we've got some posts from that today as well. VJ highlights here that many Bitcoiners have acknowledged now that Lightning is a failed attempt for scaling Bitcoin. So his question is, what else can Bitcoin do to scale? I know we have Liquid and we have a Fedimint, but what other viable scaling solutions are there for Bitcoin? It's almost like everyone is trying so desperately to hold on to Bitcoin because it's hope to get off the fiat system. But through layer 2 scaling solutions, it will reintroduce that fiat problem. This is why I see more and more Bitcoiners allocating to Kaspa. That's what's happening right now. More and more Bitcoiners, slowly but surely, they're allocated. We are currently, again, talking about this Mahatma Gandhi quote once again. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. We are literally in that final penultimate stage now where they're fighting us and we're already starting to win. Bitcoiners are starting to convert to hold Kaspa. VJ was originally anti-Kaspa 2 months ago, and now he's got 12% of his portfolio in Kaspa. We've been seeing stuff like here as well, which this is a bit of a engagement post with respect. You know, Adam's not saying here that Kaspa worked and is superior tech per se, but Adam did state here in reply to Eli, I think it was, or Eli, saying that I know Dag's work. He's not saying that he knows that DAGs work. He's saying that he knows about the DAG system and how it works. I mean, he is someone who is at the early stage of the Bitcoin, effectively. And he is someone that also looked into DAG in 2013 when Tom Polinsky presented it, and he didn't think it was worth the complexity. Now, hopefully, Kaspa can and will prove him wrong in the coming months and years with its scalable solutions and its adoption that hopefully will scale up more and more, with KRI also bringing institutional enterprise application to Kaspa as well. But the fact that Adam, and again, this could be perceived in such a way that some maxis are doing it right now, where they're saying, oh, he knows about DAG, so he knows about Kaspa. I mean, of course he knows about Kaspa. He doesn't agree that Kaspa is, you know, it's still an ongoing butting of heads, to put it no other way, butting of heads. But it's good to see that more Bitcoiners are looking towards Kaspa, and even in a sense acknowledging the DAG, which is, you know, reassuring for Kaspa and what is coming out for this project. Because yes, and I still say, but we are still early, and Tom Polinsky, Kaspa's founder, will be going live in the Bitcoin Takeover podcast tomorrow. We'll broadcast 2 episodes. We got here season 16, episode 2, part 2, with Corey here, and then which will try to define Bitcoin maximalism, and then after that you'll have it with Tom Polinsky, which I'll try to understand how Kaspa works. So you'll see a podcast tomorrow, which would be, you know, predominantly a true Bitcoin maximalist who's doing a podcast with Tom Polinsky to understand Kaspa's working, and this could bring a lot more adoption and recognition and demand to Kaspa. Therefore, if people starting to learn more about it, just hearing what Tom Polinsky has to say could, again, I'm not saying it's going to be a FOMO candle. It's not what I'm trying to say at all, but it's recognition. Having the founder of Kaspa talk about it, bringing more clarity, understanding about the project is good. That's one thing that Shai was saying when he was forced out of Kaspa. The biggest downfall is there's people who are now trying to talk about Kaspa, people like myself, we don't understand the intricate tech behind it. It's better off having someone like Michael Sutton or Tom Polinsky talk about that. He's not saying he needs to do it. He's just saying someone with that technical expertise who's been in Kaspa from the very beginning should be the one talking about Kaspa. That way you can understand even more so, because you've got better knowledge than anybody else. So Tom Polinsky doing that is a very good thing for Kaspa. So I look forward to hearing the podcast when it's released. And I'm sure it's not going to cover anything truly new that we don't already know or aren't somewhat aware of, but it's still going to be, you know, a way to bring more eyes from Bitcoin maximalists to Kaspa and convert hopefully more of them to start looking into Kaspa a bit more so as well. Conspiracy theory. Trump doesn't want cuts now. Wait till Powell's gone and cut it to 2%. Market goes crazy. Then he looks like a god. I don't hate the conspiracy theory, but maybe I'm being cautious. I don't know. But in my head, I think when Jerome Powell, you know, does step down in May 2026, Trump will bring in a new Fed chair that will obviously align with his ethos and his beliefs. If that Fed chair does significantly cut rates that much, and Jerome Powell's been holding strong the whole time because he's worried about the economy, I do think that would do more harm than good. It might do great for the short term, which is of course what we want, but it could be disastrous for the whole economy, months and the years to follow that. So I don't know how to feel about it. But ultimately, we can't do anything about it. All we can do is just play reactionary to the markets and keep allocating accordingly. That's what I have been thinking. Next cycle, Kaspa may be going to do well this cycle, not at all or very poorly. I mean, I don't disagree with you, Lieutenant, that Kaspa's going to do very, very well next cycle. Because by next cycle, you'll have Dagonite out, you'll have smart contracts out, you'll have native smart contracts out. You're most likely, if not 100%, I mean, I can't say 100%, but you'll most likely have Binance and Coinbase and all the major exchanges as well. You'll have mass institutional adoption in this space by that point. The documentation I cover with my VIPs suggests that there's big transformations happening in the next 2 to 4 years. It's going to be insane. So Kaspa with its Dagonite out, with the KRI projects, with more adoption of the layer 2's native smart contracts, stablecoins, all of that sort of stuff. The next cycle, I think Kaspa's going to be the biggest gainer. Now, that's a very, very speculative comment to make. That's not no confirmation of any of that. It's my beliefs as a maxi, also based on the information and research that I do. Not just about Kaspa, but about the crypto project as a whole. But I do think Kaspa will be one of the biggest gainers next cycle. In saying that, I do disagree that Kaspa's going to do poorly this cycle. Because technically, for one, it's already done very, very well. And equally, we still have a lot more time, in my belief, in the cycle anyways. Kaspa's got smart contracts coming out in 11 days. Igor smart contracts coming out in Q4. KRI launching pilots in Q4. Uphold will be doing some stuff for Kaspa, I think, as well. There's still a belief that you end up seeing Binance happening this cycle as well. Again, that's more speculative because I have no confirmation of that. But for me, there's still enough catalyst in this cycle from the fundamentals, from institutional adoption in ETFs to Kaspa fundamentals that will cause Kaspa to see much more adoption later on as well in this cycle. And then you have to follow that a bit even bigger as well. So, I mean, maybe I'm just the optimist. That might just what it is. Maybe I'm just the optimist. But I think Kaspa still has a lot more to come. And they're building a lot more right now as well. Speaking of which, apparently Kaspa's already preparing for quantum resistance, which is, huge news. It's very, very huge news. So we can see here from Crypto Proselyte who posted about this. Kaspa's quantum resistance update wallet upgrade here. A developer has published a proposal on GitHub introducing a wallet layer address upgrade for Kaspa designed to improve the network's resilience against future quantum computing threats. The upgrade will transition from the current P2PK address format to P2PK hash Blake to B256 via P2SH, which conceals public keys until funds are spent. The proposal addresses potential vulnerabilities from Shor's algorithm, which could allow quantum computers to break elliptic curve cryptography within the next 10 to 15 years. Unlike consensus level modifications, the upgrade is backward compatible and can be voluntarily adopted by wallets, users, and exchanges without requiring a hard fork. That would be quite interesting. If implemented, the change could position Kaspa among the first layer 1 blockchains to introduce a practical mitigation strategy against emerging quantum risks. It sounds really, really good. Of course, we have to see if it really can be rolled out properly. To my knowledge, there are other builders and entities within the space who are trying to build quantum resistance. I do believe we heard in one of the blockchain banter Monday AMAs on Twitter Spaces, when the KRI were talking about all their big things coming up, the fact that they've tested with Swift, that's something that, again, I don't think I thought I did bring enough attention to it, but I don't think I have. KRI have done testing with Swift, who are responsible for transacting $1.8 quadrillion a year. The KRI have done testing with them for Kaspa. But Kaspa is, by and large, tapping into their industry. So that is a very big deal. I actually made a video on that on my channel a little while back now. It was, whereabout was it? Here, about a month ago now. It's been a month since I made that video, wow. But that is a very, very big deal. Very big deal. So that's going to be something huge for Kaspa, no doubt. And in that blockchain banter AMA, they also mentioned somebody, I believe it was in that one, that there's someone who's focusing on building some form of quantum resistance elements for Kaspa as well. Point being it's definitely worth trying to look into it now, at the very least. That's all I can say. And it's interesting, and hopefully this could be, again, putting Kaspa again among one of the first blockchains to introduce a practical mitigation strategy against quantum risk, bringing it to the forefront once more. What institutions value the most is security and zero downtime. That's what they value the most. That's also part of the reason why they're going to Ethereum right now, despite the fact that Ethereum's not scalable and it's, quite rubbish. It hasn't had many downtimes. It's been a lot of congestion, so it's not good, but it's not had many downtimes, if any, for a long time to my knowledge. Kaspa equally has never had a downtime. Never. It has one small... It had a congestion a while back, following KRC20's poor launch, but it's not had any downtimes. And when you have speed, scalability like Kaspa does as well, and then it can bring security through decentralized matters and quantum resistance or resilience, that could bring Kaspa to the forefront as well for institutions to use. And the KRI will love that. And then Dagonite makes it even more secure while being able to scale with latency. That's going to be a 2026 thing, so that'll be after the cycle. But that does not take away from the fact that Kaspa, I still think, with Bitcoiners starting to adopt and allocate more and more into Kaspa, with smart contracts coming out, with the KI projects coming out, with stablecoins seemingly coming out onto Kaspa as well, Circle, potentially Tether as well, and then IGRA smart contracts coming out. There's a belief in myself still, and again, potential tier 1 listeners, that Kaspa again can still do very, very well because, and the biggest part again for me being the Bitcoiners. You know, we saw in the video I made a day or two ago, this one here, yesterday, when you saw Fred Krueger spreading FUD about Kaspa once again, you did see in that video Christian Ludwig give a small rundown about how Bitcoin was the fastest asset in history to reach a $1 billion market cap, but that was overtaken by Kaspa. Kaspa was actually the fastest. I still think Kaspa is going to be able to continue proving itself to be the fastest growing asset in crypto because of its technology, and tech for me, while it doesn't always win, it does matter. It does matter, very much so, because think about the top assets in stocks: Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and the rest, like Tesla. They're all up there because they are fantastic tech. You know, that's why they're up there. All the assets in the top 10 for crypto. You know, they have massive partnerships or they have good tech. Now, again, you may not like them because they're proof of stakes, but be it as it may, Bitcoin's got great tech, innovative. Ethereum also got great tech. XRP, Solana, Tron. They're not perfect, and we know their shortcomings, but they have got great tech. There's only Dogecoin as a meme up here. Everything else is up here because they are good tech projects or they have endorsements early on. So Kaspa for me is also going to get up there in the future and will gain many more. We'll start leapfrogging projects later on in the cycle following the developments coming through. You're seeing a lot more stuff coming to Kaspa, which is really, really good stuff. And tomorrow could be a big day for the founder of Kaspa, Son Polisky, to also take stage of the podcast and just explain more about Kaspa, spreading awareness to the Bitcoin maxis. Bitcoin maxis coming to Kaspa for me is the biggest catalyst, and one of the best that we're not talking about enough or not acknowledging enough. Kaspa doesn't need cycles. I mean, maybe not. If Kaspa ends up pumping in the bear cycle, that would be something. And that would bring a lot. If Kaspa can be the so-called only asset that pumps in bear cycles, Kaspa's going to see so much adoption. It would be a very weird predicament, but it would see so much adoption, you know, going against the curve like that. Traders that depend on the psychology do. Yeah. You know, yeah, of course, a lot of traders do depend on historical information and psychology. So, you know, that's why a lot of them are also calling the bear cycle already in. But they're forgetting, again, that, and that's the tough part of being a trader. That's also why I'm a trader and an investor. But I do research. And the research I do tells me we've still got more time left in the cycle because institutional documents that I cover here tell me so. You know? And tell me in detail why it's the case. What's a bear? Fair enough. Question is, how many traders can be converted into investors? I mean, most traders are investors in some capacity because, you know, trading is, you could be the best trader in the world, it's still a risky game. And trading has different brackets. You know, you could be a swing trader, which you do it every like few months or a year, you know, taking very long positions, or you could be a day trader. And that, of course, is a lot more risky. But, you know, the higher risk, high reward type of thing. But most traders are also to some capacity investors as well, just to have some form of safe money. If you're trading and doing this sort of stuff, you have money stashed somewhere that's going to make you passive gains. That's a smart thing to do. Now, what they're stashing it in is up to them. Or, you know, they've done their own research. Maybe they've just got it into some investing 401k account, whatever it may be, that makes passive gains, or some equities or whatnot. Or maybe they got it in crypto. Maybe they got it in Kaspa. Hopefully they all will in the future. Welcome back, Double D, bro. Hope you're doing very, very well, brother. And yes, LB, as always, you're right. 60 watching, 53 right now, 20 likes. I mean, right now at 22, so thank you all for the likes. But if you enjoy the content, as always, leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. And yes, it will trigger the algorithm to help get more views to the community. Spread the awareness about Kaspa and crypto as well. Welcome back, Wyatt, bro. Yo, brother. Hope you're doing very, very well. Numbers will come around eventually, and realize how huge Kaspa is, no doubt about it. Welcome back, Jay Smith, bro. Kaspa loves the FUD. Top wallets keep buying FUDsters, keep calling Kaspa name. Quickest fair launch coin to reach 1 billion. It'll be the fastest to reach 100 billion as well. You know what? I don't hate that. I think it's a possibility. Honestly. Fastest to reach 1 billion. It'll probably be the fastest to reach 100 billion and 1 trillion as well. it makes sense. Block DAG, it's literally fast. So it makes sense. August 24th, durable goods. September 5th, labour report. Yes, two very important information coming out. For me, the labour report is a lot more important than durable goods, but yes, definitely looking out for those. Kaspa will be a stablecoin one day. I mean, when the market matures more and grows more, Kaspa may stabilize, but it won't be a stable coin. Because I don't think that's inherently how Kaspa was designed to be. I may be wrong in that. But the reason why companies are creating a stable coin, because they're used to having a dollar, which is something that is, pegged 1-to-1. So stable coins are pegged 1-to-1 to the dollar or whatever native currency they're pegged to. Euros, yen. Right now, mainly dollar though. The reason why institutions took so long to get into crypto is because crypto is too volatile to market. But now they see the return of investment in crypto is insane. BlackRock got in at 40k. They're currently up 3x in Bitcoin, technically. You should look at it in a very black and white sense. Of course, it's not exactly like that, but they've made a lot of gains in Bitcoin and ETH equally, a lot of gains in Ethereum as well. Now, when the market grows higher and higher and higher, and the market cap for crypto, which is currently at 4 trillion, ends up going up to the, hundreds in the future, if not even higher. Right now, stock market's at 50 trillion, but stock market also going to come onto crypto and blockchain as well, so it'll also kind of meld together. You won't see these assets become stable coins, but because they are much larger market cap, and therefore when you're seeing, millions flowing in and out every single day, but the market is 100 trillions of dollars big, it just doesn't move a lot, so it looks more stable. If you look at the S&P 500, for example, it's currently down 0.24%. That is not a lot, but actually that's a lot of money, because that's a $50 trillion market. But it's not moving. It looks like quite a stable market. It's not moving a lot. The same thing for crypto when it goes up more and more. Now, so in that regard, therefore, I don't think Kaspa will become a stable coin, but it will stabilize more so with the maturing nature and growing size of this project. But you'll have stable coins on Kaspa, Gigawatt, your KUSDs are talking about as well, and other stuff that will, Kaspa will end up being the gas fee and transaction fee trading these stable coins on their protocol. August 31st smart contract. Yes, if we look at CAS Live right now, we can see smart contracts are extremely close now, which is very, very exciting. 11 days, 3 hours, 1 minute and 10 seconds until cashback smart contracts come out. I just pray, honestly pray, that these smart contracts are successful. That I don't want to spread FUD about Cashplex, because I do think they're trying to do a good job. But I cannot forget about what happened on KRC20's first launch, and the relaunch was better but still not fantastic. If these smart contracts come out and they are similarly not that great, or there are issues with it, that will lose a lot of confidence for me personally. And then end of the day, I'll be like, oh, that sucks, okay, I'll wait for IGRA then. That'll be kind of how I act. I think IGRA are going to do a good job. Maybe that's my bias. I don't want to downplay Cashplex. I think Cashplex are doing a good job. So I just pray that when they release their smart contracts, it is seamless, it is smooth, and it works. Because also, they seem to be in connection to these stablecoin issuers like Circle and Tether. So if they do get it right and everything is secure and smooth, that'll incentivize them to jump on Kaspa as well, which would be fantastic for growing the adoption and use case and trust of Kaspa as well. If Circle comes on Kaspa, that will bring a lot more trust to the project. A lot more trust. Now, I'm going to quickly, despite Kryptoni's judgment, I'm sure he's going to hate this now, I'm going to quickly cover some Zebec updates before I then come full circle again. So I made a video on this already, so you'll be seeing it in the video posted in about half an hour now. But basically, Zebec made an announcement about 5 days ago about how their new CEO, Simon, was the COO, now he's the CEO of Zebec. He'll be speaking at Cambridge University's International Symposium on Economic Crime, joining industry leaders, experts, and the CFTC and other global regulators to discuss crypto compliance and regulatory standards. Now, this for me is a big deal. I know Kryptoni, I know blah, 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 but it's a big deal, right? And the reason why it's a big deal because as I tell you guys and girls watching frequently, and I tell you all watching every day, and equally in the Discord server, the free Discord server, and even more detail in the VIP as well, but I tell you all, we are in an institutionally driven bull cycle. Institutions, smart money, that is what matters. So, what these institutions really care for, one of their major catalysts they're waiting for to start hedging money into it, they are waiting for regulatory clarity, regulatory frameworks. They have the stablecoin bill already out, fantastic. They want the Genius Act and many more clear regulatory guidelines so they know how to behave and act within this crypto marketplace. Point being is, if you've got these crypto companies, fintech leaders and whatnot, who are actively engaging and participating and helping guide these governments and policymakers in regards to creating legislative frameworks, that will give them more favour. That doesn't necessarily mean they're better projects. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be completely secure either. But it does mean that projects like Zebec might see more eyes, more institutional recognition, at least in the early stages, because they're the ones who are helping create these policies. And institutions who are driving this market want regulatory policies and frameworks to come before they hedge more money in. So this for me is a very big update for Zebec. And then additionally, as I explain it more in detail as well in my video, they've got some compliance milestones coming through very soon, expecting to pass the SOC2 end of this month, Mika white paper under review and to be approved end of next month, September, and then ISO compliance end of 2025 as well. All very important milestones. I'll explain it more in the video. You can watch that there and find out for yourself why it's a big deal. But this is something that I think could be a really reassuring thing for Zebec, and that's why I think Zebec again is starting to see more FOMO coming through. Currently up 6.71%. You know, after rallying up, almost bottom down here to roughly 0.0061, which is just above, and drew out the fib retracement here as a relatively accurate tool, and it did rebound just into that golden pocket at 0.0041, and now Zebec has been rallying up about 16% since it hit that pocket there. Doesn't mean it's going to continue going up. We have to wait and see, because I do think again, while the FUD was priced in today for FOMC minutes, tomorrow's macro data and Friday's Jerome Powell stance, if it is really hawkish, it might see more pullback, and therefore Zebec may come back down into the golden pocket. Maybe it comes back down to the bottom of the golden pocket around 0.0037. But I do think, and the same for Kaspa as well in that regard. Kaspa right now is currently up 5.9% on the daily time, which is very good. But equally, with some more macro data and Jerome Powell's speech on Friday, you might see Kaspa make that push above 9 cents and hold above here for a bit before making that move, building on FOMO from hopefully smart contracts, the FOMO coming from smart contracts, so hopefully surpassing therefore 10 cents. Or equally, you might see the hawkish stance, see correction in the market, see a bit of a pullback, Kaspa come back down again to this 8 cents. I did state, and if Bitcoin can hold 112, which is here, and Ethereum can hold, if Ethereum comes down to here, I think that's worst case. If Ethereum can hold here, better still if it holds where it did hold yesterday, and Bitcoin holds 112, then Kaspa for me, hopefully and likely will not drop below 8 cents. That's my current belief. Again, that can change. But I do think Kaspa's bottom has been priced in, at the very least, down here, and equally this higher low here as well. So Kaspa is going through a slow but sure uptrend from now, and will start going more parabolic in the coming months off the back of smart contracts, stablecoins, and all the other developments coming through that will bring more FOMO to the project. Seeing KYC also doing a lot better therefore as well. You're seeing these assets hopefully start to rally soon, and therefore making us gains from that as well. And you'll see these addresses hopefully, manifest into exchange listings. Right now we can see the addresses are still growing up or gaining more, with 541,500 addresses, seeing more, building up more and more. Seen massive outflows today from Wallet 4, which is Kraken's wallet. 28.3 million Kaspa outflows. You can see here, Kraken put it to a different wallet here. And you see this wallet here, equally 5 million. So we've seen a lot of movement for Kaspa wallets today. I think again, we'll see that pan out into some more significant things in the future. Big whales are still moving money for Kaspa, so evidently the project is not dead, People saying up to 9% drop in crypto market after this cycle in 2026, and then the US government stepping in with a digital dollar to replace crypto, a solution to everyone losing money. Thoughts? Not a bad theory, Anthony. It's not a bad theory. What do I think about that? It's a great question, actually. My original perception was you wouldn't see too significant of a pullback because you've got institutions, your BlackRock, your Fidelity, your 21 Shares, and many other members of Wall Street who have bought heavily into Bitcoin ETFs, into Ethereum ETFs, and they're building technology and stuff for crypto as well, blockchains and whatnot, building on the blockchains. And they're also going to get into your XRP ETFs, or Solana ETFs, and many other ETFs coming out in the coming months. Now, from an investment standpoint, you wouldn't want to put a lot of money into an asset for it to make, your 3, 5, 10x gains, whatever it may be, and then see these institutions will hold stocks for the long haul. I mean, of course, it's not stocks. Crypto is a lot smaller in that regard and more volatile, but they hold stocks for a long, long time. They'll sell and buy and sell and buy, but they hold it for a long, long time. Now, maybe they'll align with crypto strategies and sell pretty much everything going into the bear cycle, seeing a big correction and then buying the dips. And that could happen. I mean, again, I think what I'm trying to say, it depends on institutional sentiment and how they act. In my mind's eye, I'm thinking they probably won't sell all their Bitcoin, all their Ethereum, and all their crypto because they want to hold it. They want to buy it off retail. They might sell a lot of it to scare people, but they'll buy it up again. You're seeing governments across the board talk about building treasury reserves for crypto. Crypto is going mainstream. So, in my belief, I don't think institutions will sell too heavily at the so-called top. So, a 90% drop with institutions being in this cycle seems a bit excessive for me, unless they're the ones who sold a lot of it. And in that case, then yes, if institutions sold a lot of it, then yeah, maybe 90% drop is possible. But otherwise, I think you're more likely going to see 60, 50% drop. We normally see an 80% drop. We normally see 70 to 80% drop in crypto. If you look at Bitcoin in the last cycles, you normally see 70 to 80% drop from this all-time high here, down here, 77%. Go back to the last cycle. And you can see from this top here, down here, 82%. You normally see a big correction other bull cycles. But with ETFs being a big factor now and them adopting crypto for technology purposes to utilize it for payments and other means as well for tokenization, why would you sell everything you have? And again, maybe I'm just thinking about this the wrong way, where they want to sell it to, again, buy the bottom, buy the bear market, and then build up a lot more. And maybe they try to scare you out of your bags, but I don't think they're going to sell too heavily. I think you might see 60%, maybe 70%, maybe not as big as 70, 80% though. 9%, I think, end of the day, anything's possible. We've got to play it by ear. What I'm going to do at the end of the cycle, though, the so-called top, is I'm going to DCA back in the dips. Anticipating a potential early pullback or early reversal, or if it's not, then again, I just keep scooping the dips more and more and more, because I don't have a shadow of a doubt in my mind that crypto's going to come back. There's no way it's not going to come back. It's going to come back stronger than ever before. You might see a culling of many crypto assets, but that's where you're going to do your research to find out what assets are going to do well and what's going to, fall off. And for me, Capital One's going to do very, very well and survive the long haul. Worst case, just buy Bitcoin. Absolute worst case, just buy Bitcoin. But even then, I think Kaspa's got the strength to stay alive, and Bitcoin Max is coming to Kaspa is proof of that as well. How do you have a CEO of a cryptocurrency? It's a crypto company. I know what you're going to say, Cryptoni, and I know the question. The 99% of the crypto projects in the space is a crypto company. That's what it is. The space has been changed and warped for the worse. But you can't be ignorant to that at the same time. I understand they're crypto companies and understand that they are therefore centralized and therefore not in that regard as safe. Despite them doing the SOC2 thing they do here is actually regarding security stuff that all institutions go through. But the same thing, do you trust Apple? I don't trust Apple. I use Apple products. I don't trust them at all. They tried to pass a law in the United Kingdom which forced UK users to verify private information about everything. I mean, we already got the Online Safety Act in here, which is terrible, but they also try to do it for Apple as well. I don't trust these big corporations at all. So I don't necessarily trust. It's not a matter of trust. I don't trust these projects in crypto. The only ones I do have trust for is Bitcoin and Kaspa because they're decentralized. So they are for everybody in that regard. They are, and therefore inherently, I guess theoretically they're safer. But, that's these crypto companies are the ones who are these fintech so-called leaders who are in these spaces talking to governments and policymakers about how to go through this regulatory shift, which will gain them more favor. That's why I'm in Zebec. That's why I also hold XRP, because they are talking in these policy summits, which will gain them more favor from institutions. What's up, Nessie? Hope you're doing very, very well, brother. Jay, is KDAO still alive? I haven't heard too much from KDAO. Might try and reach out to them at some point. I don't hold any KDAO. I plan to at some point because I would like to participate in helping grow the ecosystem a little bit. KDAO right now is right here, $285,000 market cap. Still got 8,400 holders. We can look at KDAO right here. Look at the holders. CoinEx holds a lot of it, and then you've got wallets here who are holding, you know, similar equal distribution right now. So yeah, I'd say it's very much still alive. Just I haven't heard many updates from it right now. I'm sure you hear more in due time. I'm sure they have more updates in their own community as well. I'm not sure you have to hold KDAO to be a part of it or not. Chaos is just for the most part aren't doing a lot. You don't see a lot of, unless you're in the insider projects, like certain projects in the space, you won't hear what they're building. Not necessarily, because right now some projects either aren't building or there's just not a lot going on right now. You know. Why did they move from Zebec protocol to Zebec network and from 10 bill to 100 bill supply? That's a question I don't actually know about. I'll see if I can find that out for you. But I actually don't know why they did that at all in the first place either. I'd imagine it's probably just so they can have more supply for people and then, you know, have more of a reason to... I mean, I'll be frank, I don't know, brother. I really don't. I will see if I can find some information for you, and then I'll send it into the Discord community in the general chat, as I'll at you as well. It is LB. Yes, I'll at you, LB. I believe your name is LB in the Discord community. Let me quickly just double check. Members, LB. Okay, no, you're not LB. Okay, so I'm not sure what your name is. I'm not sure if you're even in the server. I believe you are. If you are, just tell me what your username is and I'll at you. Actually, you know what? I'll just send it in the community either way. I'll send it in the community, and I'll give you some answer about it, and hopefully you can find out why they did that. Nope, don't invest in Apple. But if I was, at least I knew investing in a company, not a masquerade. And yeah, I can see what you mean by that. Cryptony. I guess everyone has their own investment strategies. You know, I equally, you know, I do invest in these other crypto projects, and I would inherently invest in other tech companies as well. But I don't invest in them because I trust them. I just know that what they're building will garner more attention. And there are people who unfortunately will trust them blindly, and they'll be the fools for that. Since Elon Musk discussed possible quantum computer hack in 2023, Kaspa could have the advantage of already being quantum resistant. I mean, potentially, Wealth. If this does come to fruition, potentially, if they're already preparing for quantum resistance right now, and quantum computers doesn't become a thing until 2035 or even a few years off from that, then Kaspa may be ready in time for this new era of potential risk, if you will. Because quantum is going to be a big risk, a big thing to, you know, all elements of tech. So that's why a lot of companies right now are looking into crypto for more efficiency and more security, but also quantum for more protection. So if Kaspa's already looking into that, it's not guaranteed it's going to be the right thing right here and now, but the fact they're looking into it is somewhat reassuring. So it may give them an advantage by that point as well. So yeah, it could be a big thing for it. But again, it's the same thing right now. It's purely just a draw-up phase. Very, very early doors, so we can't count on it too much right now. But it's interesting. At the very least, it's very, very interesting. With that being said though, family, that'll be for today's Kaspa Crypto livestream. If you enjoyed, as always, please leave a like. We're at 30 right now. If we could reach 40, that would be fantastic. Leave a like. Share with your friends, subscribe for more, get more involved with the community with the free Discord server. Highly recommend tuning into that. Equally the VIP, more information on that. And equally we have our affiliate exchange, BYDFI, no KYC, no VPN, and regulatory licenses in Canada, US, and many more regions. You can get many benefits if you sign up through my affiliate link. So check out the free community and follow the steps to get the benefits. I'll be going live tomorrow as well. Friday live stream will be early. Saturday there will not be a live stream, unfortunately. But I'll keep you updated. I'll make sure to put posts in the Discord server this time 100%. That being said, have a great day, good evening, good night, family. Love you all, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care now.